Good morning, everyone. Virgo here. It is October 23rd, 2020, and once again, happy Friday to everyone. So this video is dedicated to all of the Sovsits and Moors who have been sending in questions, one specific question as a matter of fact, and that specific question is, show me a law that says that I have to pay federal income tax. Now, over the last 4.5 years, I've actually gone over this question several times, and I've shown many laws, including the frivolous argument regulation sheet that goes out by the IRS every few years so that people that are tax protesters are able to take a look at the frivolous arguments that consistently are pursued in criminal court when the IRS goes after people who are tax protesters. I'm going to go ahead and completely debunk this at this point, as it's obvious that a group has gotten together and decided to ask the same question over and over and over again in different names via email and my comment section. So listen up, guys. Here are your laws. First of all, you're looking at Title 26 of the U.S. Code. Congress used the power granted by the Constitution and 16th Amendment and made laws requiring all individuals to pay tax. Congress has delegated to the IRS the responsibility of administering the tax laws known as the Internal Revenue Code, and found in Title 26 of the United States Code Law that says that you have to pay taxes. Here is Title 26 U.S. Code. This will be linked in the description for you so you can read it in its entirety for yourself should you like to. Before we go any further, let me just state that there will also be the PDF form of the Truth About Frivolous Tax Arguments that's put out by the IRS every few years. This last one has been revised for March of 2014, and it goes over the frivolous tax arguments that are constantly brought up by the Sovsit group and other tax protesters, including the Moors. Let me first off explain to everyone that this is just the PDF format so that you can download it at your convenience. You can also locate this on irs.gov, and there's a more updated version from 2017 located there with additional arguments pertaining to things like accepted for value, which is, by the way, a bunch of BS. There's hardly a constitutional amendment, law, or supposition that hasn't been used in an attempt to prove that the income tax collection is invalid in the United States. I'm often asked whether the 16th Amendment was properly ratified, often more rudely to show where the law is that requires people to pay income tax. They want an ironclad law, and don't give me any bunk about it, lady, is kind of what I get. And although I find these arguments, like most constitutional law discussions, interesting, ultimately the truth is that the Secretary of State proclaimed the ratification of the 16th Amendment on February 25, 1913, 26 U.S.C. 1. You are currently looking at 26 U.S.C. 1, and it imposes tax on taxable income. You are currently looking at 26 U.S.C. 6.3, which defines taxable income as gross income minus allowed deductions. Further, here is 26 U.S.C. 6012, which requires the filing of returns by every individual with gross income for the year, with a few exceptions for poverty level. Dozens of cases have upheld the federal government's power to collect income tax against just about every single argument. Judges have very little tolerance for tax protesters, particularly ones who convince other people not to pay taxes while being deceptive about the enormous legal consequences, like many of you Sovsits. Adherents who practiced what they preached are currently in jail for tax evasion. People like Winston Shrout, for example. many scenarios with Winston Shrout on his taxes and trying to proclaim that everybody was free from taxes because these laws didn't exist is what put Winston behind bars, partially for the 10 years that he's serving. Many for dramatically heavy sentences that are far beyond what Winston Shrout is in for are currently serving. And while the IRS may be less sinister than it was a few years ago, at least from the customer service standpoint, there is no doubting that the IRS has a great willingness to use enormous powers against individuals to collect tax revenue. My suggestion to all of you, please take a look at these laws, because for once and all, these particular laws are the ones that say you are required to pay taxes. If you're a tax protester, you can proclaim all you want for yourself. You can even go as far as to do what you think you have discovered in the tax law that gives you a loophole out. But I advise against trying to convince others of it, because the more people you convince and scam into getting into trouble, the more time you're going to serve on top of the time that you're already serving for trying these shenanigans. Once again, these are the tax laws specifically that state you must pay your United States taxes. Have a nice day.